So, hi everybody, welcome to our third and final part of our Bite Marks play set in the Gauntlets Empire City setting, shared modern history-ish sort of paranormal, lots of things hanging out in New York. We are running Bite Marks in an inspired by White Wolf setting called the Werewolves of Wall Street, where our alpha capitalist pack own money, power, glory, but someone wants a bit of their action, and it's got a bit difficult for the pack in the last two sessions. We are playing with safety tools. We're using Xcard. We're using script change. We've checked in all lines and veils. We have acquainted ourselves with lines well before we started play. And as this is our final session, I've done the courtesy of asking my players, how can I help them to have an awesome game? We'll sort of close down our game with a debrief, probably using something like the highlight reel tool, just to sort of say, what did we really dig and why was it fun? And what did we not dig so much? But last time we finished this, it had all come to a little bit of a cliffhanger when Xenophon had got to the center of the web and found one of our named NPCs there, which was Peyton King. My notes say that Peyton King is the younger brother of Briar and he will inherit Horizon Holdings. The picture of him looks like a very theatrical and handsome Daniel Radcliffe, but yeah, that's where we were. So I think that's where we'll open up as the credits roll, so to speak, and we'll see Xenophon looking at this figure.
So I guess my first order of business is to try and figure out what the heck is going on here. Is he obviously like, is he like obviously at the center of a messed up web, or is he just standing there? Like, what is the?
He is literally pulling strings. You can see them wrapped around his fingers, and he's pulling data streams. You can see bitcoins falling into him. You can see him dealing with making sure that particular political bills don't go through the local government. You can see him affecting SAT scores. He is using Grandmother Spider, who should be the protector that connects all the people in the city, to mold it in his own intentions or images. He is definitely a bad guy, if that's what you wanted to.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to. I want to just take a moment, stare at him, kind of raise an eyebrow at how, pretentious he's being about all of this. And in that time, kind of like flare my nostrils and, my whatever, like my iris into tight little pinpoints and see what I can make of what's going on here and harness the wolf.
Yeah.
To try and get some information if I can.
To remind everyone, I think we found that Xenophon's sort of avatar form is, if you're a werewolf, the apocalypse player, sort of in that Krynos form, halfway between human and wolf. And I think I also remember that you had rolled well enough on one of your other moves to have an escape plan in place if anything goes too wrong.
Yes, yeah, I can get out of here if I need to. So, but I'm going to start by trying to figure out what's going on. My dice are showing 8. My heart is 3, so that gets me to an 11.
So you're harnessing the wolf. That means you get to ask me 3 questions.
All right. What is the strongest emotion in this location? I love that question.
Oh, the strongest emotion is the sorrow that pours right across the web from Grandmother Spider. She is not for this, but she is forced to act in this way. Her control has been subjugated.
What does he really want?
He wants power, Xenophon, and this is the way to do it. This is a way They can use it to consume and rewrite reality as they want to.
All right. What's the biggest threat to the pack in all of this?
This ass clown doesn't know what he's doing. He's not just controlling Grandmother Spider. He is weakening her and overpowering her position, sort of exhausting her power to such a degree that the very existence of Grandmother Spider is in doubt.
Okay. So, I'm just gonna walk forward, and let me make sure, just as a player, that I've got his name right. It is it's Peyton. Yeah.
Yeah.
Peyton. This is very impressive. How familiar are you with the history of extractive industries?
He sort of stops his gesturing with the webs and pays attention to you properly for the first time. Says, "Wait, who are you? Why are you here?" I said, "Which industries?"
Extractive industries. Industries that rely on local resources, gypsum, aluminum, oil, that sort of thing.
He says, "Yes, I have a number of these in my holdings."
Yes, well, so the thing that you may not understand is that the patience of Mother Spider, the vitality of Mother Spider is, well, you're extracting it right now. It's not an infinite resource. You're not using it wisely. And as heady as all of this is, if you use it up, you'll be left with nothing.
So I think you're going to probably have to, let's see, you're going to have to see if he's going to listen to you. And I think you're going to have to dominate them unless there's a move you want to use. But I will remind you, you're acting on the information you have. So you take a +1 forward, however.
And let me, so I may have a, no, I think my playbook moves are mostly only affecting other PCs, but let me just do a, yeah, pack-mate, got it. Okay, cool, yeah. So, yeah, so, and this is like, I am being super smug about the fact that I know something he doesn't, and that like, I have business advice that he better listen to, basically, is kind of what this is coming out, how I want this to come across. So yeah, but I think dominate is absolutely the move to, well, let me see. Yeah, I think that makes, yeah, that's the thing that makes the most sense here. So
dominate is sort of the provoke-like move that you'll find here most likely. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, no, I think dominate makes the most sense. Basically, forcing him to hear me out is what I'm trying to do here. Got it. So I am, that is with teeth, which is +1 for me, and I've got a +1 forward, so I'm rolling a +2. I've got a 6 shown on the dice, which gets me to 8.
So, at a 7 and 9, the situation is mostly under your control. NPCs will do as you ask in a half-hearted way. So I think he'll stop. And the web strand that he has go a little bit lax. They're not taut. And he sort of says, "This spider belongs to me now. You and your pack are yesterday's news. You can tell Briar that we don't need her anymore. Anymore. We don't need them anymore. This is our territory."
Please, please, please. I know everybody is talking a lot about the death of expertise these days, but we've grown up with Mother Spider. We know Mother Spider. We can help you get along with Mother Spider, if you can work with Mother Spider, if we can help you arrange a merger rather than a hostile takeover, it will be better for everyone.
So then, do we get our lawyers to talk? Or shall we meet? Not here, but in the real world?
I think that's the thing that makes the most sense. We both know how to get here if we need to get back again, after all, don't we?
That, I think that seems sensible then, yeah? Let's ensure that let's ensure this doesn't need to escalate. In the meantime, I think it's probably still important that that Teresa stays with me.
Very well. She'll serve as our collateral.
And he sort of then throws up a glittering ball of web, which has definitely spiritual energy battering around in it. And he says, and the memory, if you like, of your dear departed ram.
So, okay, so I'm just going to pause for a moment. As a player, is he offering that to me, or is he saying that he needs that from me as a
he's going to hold
gesture?
it as a hostage for your good behavior.
Got it. My memory of Ran.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I say terms are these terms are acceptable. I will need to bring some of and I say I'll need to bring a strand of the web back with me. Anyone, your choice, doesn't matter.
Says, of course. And he pulls a silver strand and it sort of whooshes and dashes towards you. It is, what is it? What is he giving you? What does it feel like, or is it a spider memory of? Describe it as it touches you, Xenophon.
I think it is, it's a personal memory of his that he considers like unimportant or beneath him, or like something he's not going to miss.
It clearly is something of Briar then, right?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah. Like just like you know, like the time they watched, you know, Ghostbusters 2 together or something like that. Whatever. It's, you know, like some kind of like otherwise forgettable domestic moment that in his, you know, kind of overblown ego is unimportant, but that, you know, actual empathetic human beings understand that it is the accumulation of these that, you know, make you like a real person. So
cool. And then he sort of looks up to you and says, I told Gungen what would happen if he left town, and I told him what would happen if he messed with what was mine. You brought this on yourselves.
And I just like, I have no comment to that, because that's like that kind of self-justification is bullshit and always has been, but I'm there's like getting into it with him about this does not serve anybody right now. So
Yeah, just exposition. It's all good.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just kind of give him a like a little like a barely an almost imperceptible shrug at that as when he says that.
Awesome. And I think the heart of the web sort of starts closing behind
and
him.
I'll just kind of like close that strand into my hand, and I'll retreat through that route that I know how to get out of here.
Cool. Let's find the rest of the pack, because Jessica and Maxim, you had decided to go and find Briar.
No, Jessica stayed behind, right?
Yeah, I refused because my loyalties were still divided. And I think where I think I'm going with this, I think it might be effective to at least briefly cut to me, if that's okay?
Yeah.
Because you cut to Jessica, and she is on the phone with Gungeon.
Dun, dun, dun.
Basically, Jessica's thought process went like, well, the person I'd go to with this is Xenophon, but the person who's in trouble here is Xenophon, so who else can I go to? And the only person that Jessica could think of is Gungeon. So I'm bringing Gungeon in, kind of bringing him up to date and asking him for advice, kind of what's the best course of action.
So it's that sort of couple of moments of dial before you realize you're connecting on a satellite phone to someone. And yeah, I think Gungeon answers, and you sort of relay the story to him, and he says, and Maxim has taken over the pack.
For now.
So I want you to explain to me, Jessica, really carefully why you're ringing me and what you want me and expect me to do.
I'm ringing you because if anyone has seen something like this before, it's you. And I want to do the thing that is in the best interests of the pack. And I am not certain that what either our current alpha or our immediately former alpha are doing is in the best interests of the pack.
Let me ask you something else, Miss Ross. What is the first of the pack traditions? That is to remind you, the only one who can tell you what to do is the alpha. So he simply says and responds back to you. So he says, are you going to moan about it? Are you going to do something about it? Are you going to disobey your alpha?
So
I'm turning the plane around. Don't make me clear this shit up, Jessica. Clear it up for me.
got it. And I think at that point, I'm imagining Gungeon hangs up.
He will remain on the line painfully until you hang up.
I think I hang up fairly quickly, but it's clear it's clear I'm hanging up with a slam. Gungeon can hear the slam down the line. And as a player, I'm honestly not certain what I want to do what the most dramatic thing is, but I'm not sure what that is in this situation. So maybe come back to me.
That's all right. We'll switch the lens as you slam down the phone then, and we'll move across a town to where we find Maxime.
Well, we had just broken through quite handily through to the web, and I guess we had been about to start tracking down Xenophon, but I guess there's hardly much point in doing that now, right? So if you want us to meet up with Xenophon at some way down or some way back,
You can meet up here because I think you say you're stepping through. Did you want to describe your? I can't remember if we described your cool forms as you step through the.
Yeah. So I think Maxim is kind of this startling, kind of slate gray, kind of metalled blue kind of shadow inside the web, and it's almost as if every step he takes is like the shattering of glass. And there's like there's I don't know, like like a tectonic shock or like a heartbeat going through the ground or the web as he steps on them.
Awesome. And how about for you, Briar?
I think Briar looks like a reflection of their digital footprint, which means that it's like an amalgam of different like screenshots and photos of themselves throughout the years. So like it's like their hand is like from a photo of the time they were in Greece, and then like their face is like five different selfies. That's kind of like mixing and matching together. And every now and then you get a hint of like a wolfish form. But you can tell they haven't been a wolf in a while, so that's why it doesn't really show up that much. Um, it's all holding together in like a human like shape. But yeah, like a cubist digital collage of Briar as they are known in the internet.
That is just some of the most beautiful description I've ever heard. So I love that, man. That's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I think look, you spend a little time on the chasing on the tail, and I think let's have you come to the point where Xenophon, as you sort of overhear the end of it and the spider web closing down, and I think Briar, you do see your brother at the center of the web, because we're running a 3-part, right? So we've got to use movie level plot pacing here, and that is bang, you can see your brother. But
I
you
think
also Xenophon.
oh sorry.
And
Say it again.
obviously, if we really wanted to dial to 11, we would arrive just as they said. We don't want things to escalate, right? But
Yep.
but I think unless Briar is out for blood, I think Maxim is just waiting to see that Xenophon gets out safely.
Awesome.
I don't know if Briar's out for blood. I think it's mostly just a confused what the fuck ringing out throughout the entire web. They're like, I mean, they don't like their brother. It doesn't mean they want to kill them. It's just that like they don't. This is the last place they expected to see him.
I mean, I wonder from where like Rosa and Maxim and Briar kind of are arriving on the scene. I wonder, is there something about the kind of layup that Xenophon can tell what's changed in the pack, or maybe there's the Wolf's app pack has like switched order in the members or something. Very Glasswalker.
Are we in the digital realm? Have you got that little tab above you that tells you that you are the one who's now leading?
Oh, there's a new little icon, a crown or whatever, floating above Maxime.
So 3/4 of the gang's back together.
Are you okay, Xenophon?
Yes, I'm all right. I have an interesting proposal, but the whole pack has to agree to it.
Okay. Well, let's get you out of here.
Yeah, let's get everybody back together. You should know I'm safe. We're safe for now, but I left things in a state of flux.
Okay, but like you're not trapped and you're okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Is anyone going to accept that, or are you going to provoke spill?
I mean, I think certainly from my point of view, I'm accepting that. Like I've done what I came here to do, you know, and I think in my experience, while Xenophon has their own brand of bullshit, you know, now is
So,
not the right time to probe.
Is it just me and Maxime?
No,
So
but
Rosa and Briar are there too.
oh yeah, sorry, I forgot Rosa came as well. Yeah.
Briar is kind of like mostly like still in confusion because they're quite clear they just saw their brother where the web is as that passage kind of closed off.
So I think I am gonna spill here. And I'm just gonna like put a hand on Maxime's chest. And I'm gonna say, I knew you wouldn't leave me. And if we can do this right, if we can play this the way I think we can, your decisiveness, your willingness to be bold, this will propel us to new heights that we have not dreamed of before. And it will be you that helped us do this. And
Are you spilling or provoking spill?
oh, I'm spilling. This is my desire for a pack mate. Part of that, you know, and kind of looking at you like, you know, you could be the king, baby, like that kind of thing.
There's absolutely no reason why that wonderful spill, and add one to the pack pool, give a tie.
Yeah, you got a tie on me. There,
But there's
Maxime.
absolutely no reason why you, in return, may not have provoked the spill on dear Maxim.
So yeah, why don't I,
You're presumably waiting for a response, right?
oh, you know what? He's the alpha, right? He's the alpha. I don't think I need to use my silver tongue because there's nothing, I'm not like getting him to, oh, I am gonna try to get him to ignore a tradition here, I think. Although, yeah, no, I think just provoke spill makes the most sense because this is, I'm like with my spill, I'm gonna do that. So let me roll plus heart here. That's 6 plus 3 gets me to 9. So you're gonna spill and I'm gonna choose one.
Okay. So I think, you know, I put one of my, I guess, glittering digital paws on your hand against my chest, and I put the other one around the back of your neck and pull you in and say, I didn't come here to be bold. I came here because we cannot survive without you, X. And I think he like looks over at Rosa but doesn't say anything because like it's obvious to you what like even though you weren't in the room at the time, like what this discussion has been, right?
Yeah, and I think the 7 to 9 option that I'm going to choose is you can omit an aspect of the truth in your spill response to me. If there was some bit of that was, because normally if you did, I would, there's like a pack pool element or something.
Yeah. I mean, I think
or you can go ahead and just tell the truth and we still get to add to the pack pool.
Yeah, I think that's truth, and maybe there's like I don't know, maybe to avoid that, he's not withholding, but you know, I think you know that maybe Rosa was not going to come in here after you, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah. No,
yeah.
I think
Okay.
that's fantastic. That's excellent. Yeah. So we add one more to the pack pool. And David, are you adding to the pack pool when we do that, or should we be doing that as a result of our own moves, or what?
normal up until this point you have been, but I will do it. I've just added 2 in to deal with
Yes,
those
yeah,
rules.
2 in, and
And
so
you get your
and-
your ties roll over, I think, with Maxime.
yeah. So when we add a 4th tie, does it reset to 1 and we get an XP, or how does that work
Oh,
once you go to 4?
I'm going to have to quickly remind myself. Please play some elevator music or carry on role playing without me.
Yeah, I think it might reset to 0 and get 1 XP.
Yeah, I think that's what it does. It resets to 0. Yes, I checked this before. You have reminded me. Yeah, it does reset to 0. You get the XP.
Okay.
And sorry, are we in wolf form now, or are we in
You're going to
human
count as
form,
wolf
or
form, I think.
Okay.
Here, yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, technically you're between 2, so I'm going to be a kind and generous MC and let you choose the most appropriate one for you. You feel more wolfy, or do you feel more human?
This is human stuff. This is for me is on my end. This is all like kind of, like I'm literally talking about like mergers and hostile takeovers and all this kind of stuff and everything.
Yeah, and remind yourself at the end of the scene what you've just hit in terms of your heartbeats again, because I think Maxim possibly expressed loving. Baby bruised. Xenophon was definitely persuasive, or at least trying to be. So take away.
okay.
Briar, anything you want to do whilst they're having this heart to heart?
No, I kind of don't want to interrupt the heart to heart. I'm still kind of like still trying to process. Let's see. I'm standing by the side, just being like, that can't be right.
So that being the case, I think Rosa will look at you. Rosa's form is big as fuck, black wolf with wires and golden eyes. Right, she is full on cyberpunk werewolf, and there is no doubt of her threatening and violent form here. She looks at you and says, "What's up with you, newbie? Look like you've seen a ghost."
Well, if the ghost was an annoying jackass of a sibling, yeah, I did see a ghost. But I guess Xenophon has the deets on that. That was. I think like this one probably will interrupt the heart to heart. That was him, right? Peyton.
I turn to you. I turn to you, and like I think I look surprised, like I'm suddenly remembering that you were actually there. Oh, Briar. As far as I could tell, it was Peyton. Smelled like him, looked like him, had the same tone of voice, that arrogant, grating,
Yeah.
holier than thou.
Yeah. Did he smell of aftershave? Because he always lays it on way too thick.
Yes. That obnoxious cologne. And then I take a step towards Briar, and I say, "There's something I'm going to need from you that will help me through this."
Yeah, of course.
I had to leave with him as a token my memories of Ram. Now I know in a factual way who Ram was, but right now he doesn't mean anything to me, anything at all.
Oh.
And if I forget that, and if in forgetting that I fail to serve the pack, I'm going to count on you to remind me. Don't tell a soul.
Are you using your special move?
I'm using my special geas move. When you say don't tell another soul and share a secret with a packmate, and the secret is that I gave up that memory of Ram as collateral, and I'm only telling Briar that. Add +1 to the pack pool, And I take a +1 tie on them, which I'll do. That is +1 on Briar. And if Briar wants to tell anybody else what's going on, to reveal the secret, they have to make Briar has to make a disobey move. And if they succeed, I take another tie on them because they blabbed my secret.
Yeah, I think like the does this look like anything? Is there like an actual chaos? Like is there like an actual like effect? Or is it just like the imposition of this relationship?
Like I feel like this is a thing where like I'm like if this is like the TV show or the movie or whatever, like I'm talking to you and I tell you what's going on, but then I lean in and like we see my lips right over your ear, like I'm about to like lay a gentle kiss there, like on your neck or something, and I whisper, "Don't tell a soul," and that has some, you know, like very obviously like, you know, vocal effects to indicate that there's some kind of something going on there, that it's not just that there is a, you know, a little bit of like mesmerism or something going on.
Yeah, I think like Briar kind of like nods, and I think it's ambiguous whether they look dazed because they just saw their brother, or that Xenophon's asking a lot of them, or that because Xenophon has imposed a chaos on them. Probably all three. They just look dazed. It's been a long morning.
Yeah, you're having a day here. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't think they've slept that much since Ram's wake. So it's like yeah, of course I don't even remember what you just said. I do, but I don't. You know.
Awesome. So I presume you three of you are going to be making your way out of here, and let's head back to the headquarters, the offices, where the phone in. Actually, were you in the nightclub? Or you were in? No, let's say you're in the offices. But in the offices, in the trading offices, the phone in your office is ringing, and won't stop ringing. Jessica.
I think, yeah, I answer it kind of angrily, kind of I'm snatching up the phone kind of with the opposite of a slam.
Miss Ross, we need your advice. The IRS are here. They have a warrant.
Stall, I'll be down. And I run. I think actually I don't just run down the stairs. I think that I briefly switch to wolf form and kind of bound and kind of take a whole staircase at a time, and kind of like you see me at the reception kind of like brushing my ruffled clothes as I've just switched back from wolf form.
There are suits there. Lots of suits. But the suit that's most surprising is the one that takes off the sunglasses and looks at you. And you would swear to all God that would be Whisper if she wasn't dead.
So I think I think I want to harness the wolf here. as I'm walking up, before kind of I've had any interaction, I'm still walking up. I want to harness the wolf. So that is 2d6. Roll. Yes, that is a 9 plus whatever I have.
Heart.
Heart. Heart is 0, so that is just a 9.
Okay. So on 9, you can ask 1 from the harness of all questions.
What I really want to find out is that really whisper, but I don't think any of the questions will do that. So I'm going to go with what smells wrong here.
Yeah, I was about to say that will be appropriate. The whatever this is imperfect. It's wearing a perfume that Whisper stopped wearing back in 2009 because one of those friggin' Kardashians started wearing it. Probably not 2009, probably closer to like 2016, right? But it is a smell, and it's like, even though you look at it now, the hair, the look, it's how you remember her a few years back. It's imperfect, but it is close enough to be bloody disconcerting.
So I think as I walk up, I'm trying to quickly assess the situation. I'm looking as hard as I can to find a way to not, like a legal way not to act on this warrant immediately. I want to stay on it, a kind of something that will mean we don't have to deal with the bloody IRS investigation in the middle of all this that's going on. And so I think I'm looking to dominate here. I know I'm doing kind of one move after another, but I think I've set up.
So you'll be running with teeth. As a segue to that, you know you've run too many maths game. When someone says, I want to assess a situation, your mouth almost says roll with superior.
Pardon?
Oh,
yes, yes.
The maths room, and we're like, no, hold on.
Yes. So that is a 9 plus 2 teeth. That is 11.
You take full control of the situation. The NPC does as you told. So she shows you the IRS badge, and she says, "We're here to investigate some of your trades and stock options." Said, "We've got a strong lead that you've been involved in dealing with some skullduggery around Wall Street." It said, "We can track back a trail to you that you've been overinflating GameStop stocks." But you take control of the situation. So she gives her line. Do.
So I look at this warrant and say good try but no dice, and then I spotted something in this warrant that's irregular, and like I point it out. I kind of send it straight back to them, and I kind of pass it straight back to them and say, you're going to need to do better than that. And what I'm looking for is for them to have to, and at the moment, I'm looking for them to have to go back and get another warrant. I'm looking for that to be a slow process.
That's fine.
And
yeah,
I also, I'm sending the packing, and I also want to get to the bottom of why someone's pretending to be Whisper, but for now I'm just getting the danger out of there.
So Whisper will smile as you say this and said as astute and as careful as ever, Jessica. We've made a mistake, but we'll be back. She sort of turned, and then she turns back and looks at you and said, "Good to see you. I've missed you."
And I just raise my eyebrow slightly and say deadpan, "Do I know you?"
She gives a wry smile. When it comes down to it, Jessica, we're all ghosts in the machine.
At which point I turn around and just march back into the offices.
Cool. Okay, so look, we'll take 2 short breaks tonight. That feels like an Act 1 end as the pack comes back together. So let's take 5 minutes and then we'll draw everyone and you'll be back together. So we're going to restart then, folks. We're going to wait for Xenophon and Jim to rejoin us shortly. But the pack is back together, and you are. Yeah, I think you're back at the offices. It's probably the most sensible place, or the nightclub, or you can bring somewhere else completely.
I'll look to the alpha for that.
Well, we were previously when we left, we were coming out of Rosa's office in the firm, right?
Yeah.
So I think unless we get communication that maybe it's not wisest for us to return there, if there is surveillance, then I guess that is where we will return.
Cool. Then go there.
And maybe there's like some extra security on the front desk, or maybe like a junior lawyer there constantly in order to be the first ditch of defense,
Yep, and I think the first thing you're greeted by when you come past reception is Jessica striding in and saying, "There is weird shit going on here."
Okay. Maybe you can give us a little bit more information, because I was about to say something very similar.
So I'm basically short clipped sentences. IRS, someone who looks like Whisper and clearly thinks that they've convinced me that they are Whisper, but they smell wrong.
Like, we are doing like a brisk Sorkin-esque walk and talk, right? Until you mention Whisper, and then like I just stop. Whisper.
Whisper.
Sorry. She
with an
thinks
IRS warrant.
that she has, fuck the IRS. She thinks that she has convinced you, or you think that she has convinced you?
I think, no. I know that she isn't Whisper, and she knows that I know that she isn't Whisper.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I guess. No, it's a good thing, right? Like, she's dead. Dead things don't come back. Not us.
They did a damn good job of it. They would have convinced a human, but not one of us.
Okay, well, I'm glad you were here to, buttress the walls.
Yeah, it was. I my reason for staying was screwed up, and I'm sorry about that. Things were moving fast. I was confused as to where my loyalties lay, and it was unacceptable. And I'm sorry. And I think I'm spilling here. I think I'm kind of doing I'm doing the equivalent of, but in human form, of a kind of like wolf rolling over and kind of like bearing their underbelly to the alpha to kind of like make up for transgression. I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm doing that kind of pack kind of submission to the alpha sort of move.
So is that like you're hurting because that is not like you, or is there some other? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think just things were moving so fast, and I kind of almost hadn't clicked in for me that you were the new alpha, and then like I'm kind of like, now I'm like, yeah, the alpha's changed, and I'm
Okay. I think, are you provoking me with that? Because that's like Jessica doesn't like do this kind of forthright admission of wrongdoing or of guilt or anything like that very easily.
Mm-hmm. I think I am provoking, and I think in doing this, I feel like I'm doing the same as what happened before. I'm spilling myself, and in spilling, provoking, because I'm kind of, I guess, subtly nudging you to kind of talk about what your plans are, kind of like what kind of where you're going as an alpha. Like that's where I'm kind of steering you towards, and kind of what you're afraid of, I suppose. Let's see.
Yeah, okay.
And so I'll roll for provoking spill. It's 5, and spill is with provoking spill is with heart, presumably. Yes, that is a 5. That fails. Hard move time.
I get to have a hard move. How lucky I am. And
Do you wanna think of a reaction, and I'll respond?
you respond, and I'll
Yeah.
think of something. Go for it. I don't want to break up the role play, actually. So yeah.
So let me know if this sounds okay, but like Maxim, in a way that maybe reminds you of when like you were like years ago when you were coming up in the pack, like takes your arm and like starts bringing you down towards your office, and he is talking quietly, not like anyone is going to be like listening in on Jessica and Maxime, but like just in case. I didn't want to take over, right? But someone needed to do something, and I always thought that would be you, right? So
I think because you're the alpha now, I hold my tongue, but you kind of feel my internal dialogue is going kind of, I was going to do something, just something other than kind of leaping. Actually, no, maybe I say this. I was going to do something, just something other than kind of leaping straight into trouble. I mean, it worked out, but might not have done.
There's a
And
lot of
I
things
don't
that-
think I.
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't think I'm making a challenge or kind of or anything. I think I'm just kind of like I'm not actually trying to get you to act differently. I'm just kind of like pissed off and giving you my mind.
Yeah, I think I just say like there's a lot of things that might work out differently, right? Someone had to do something to get Xenophon out of trouble, and that was what I thought was the best thing to do right there. And listen, hey, he was okay, and he may not have needed our help, but sitting around, put your feet up on the table, an alpha can't do that. And so this is like a barb that he is flinging at Rosa, right?
So I think Rosa's response is, "You are so fucking stupid." This is the base of our power. You can cut her off if you want, but Jessica, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I do. I cut her off with a snarl. Like I'm fully committed to this new alpha, and I'm like, yeah, I think I take her aback a little bit.
You're
yeah.
so fickle. Dominate her then.
Yep. I mean, it's my job to be the enforcer for the alpha. Yeah, I'm attempting to dominate Rosa. And if I can find the dice keeper, the dice roller, yep. Ooh, that is a 5.
There's things sliding further out of your control. If what you thought over the pack mate described the contest differently, that pack mate gets +1 time view. If it's not a pack mate, the MC makes a hard move. So I think you snarl at Rosa, and she looks at you and says, "I said the grown-ups are speaking," and she slams you hard with her claws, doing harm to you. So I'd like you to take harm.
So
yeah. How much harm?
Well, it would have been wolf claws and teeth, so it's 2 harm, but you have to roll a harm move. On the
yeah.
Right, to decide if this gets
you're
at least taking 2 harm. It might get worse.
Okay, so that's another 2d6. I'm guessing.
Correct. Yeah, it's on the harm tab.
That's a 7. What do I roll with? I roll with guts. Actually, that's probably that's a 6 actually, because it's with guts.
The MC can choose one of the following: the PC out of action, unconscious, or trapped. So I'm going to say you are. I think you are unconscious, right? You slapped her. She sort of looks back at you, says the grown-ups are speaking, and sucker punches the fuck out of you, and you go down like a sack as she hits you.
Oh, I was about to, intervene with a word, but it's going to be more than that now. So I grab Rosa's hair and drag her off Jessica, and I say, baring my teeth albeit kind of in human form, the greatest asset of this pack are the wolves, you piece of shit.
And you sound to me like you're trying to dominate her.
It does, doesn't it? So. Well, that's a 7.
Situation mostly ended. Oh yeah, Jim.
So Remind me again how we spend pack to do things to rolls and like whether there's a limit
So
on that. and
yeah,
how
that's all
that
on the
works.
pack tab, just to remind people, right? So you can spend pack to assist. You can spend up to 3 pack pull on a move, taking it from the tab, which you've got at 13 at the moment. There's also other things you can do, like it's in your nature, defend territory, overwhelm them. So those are the 4 things you can do. So it can be spent 1 for 1. You should also remind yourself here that you have ties. And ties. I don't know if you have any ties on, Rosa. There.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't think I would have got one when I took
Yeah,
the
you
pack
can
over,
spend
did I?
you can spend +1 tie in a character, gain a +1 on the roll. So no, not unless you specifically have gathered.
Yeah.
Normally on other PCs, but I may have given you for another NPC pack member. But if not, you can use those as +1 onto your rolls as well.
So I'm gonna burn 3 pack to bump Maxim to a 10.
Sure.
And basically say like the time to pull this was before. Everybody needs to fall in line now if we're gonna live through this. You weren't able to do this before. You're certainly not gonna be able to do it now.
So you take full control of the situation and you'll dominate then, Maxim.
Yeah, so I just turn Rosa around and just turn my back on her and maybe get Briar to help and like get Jessica into a chair and woken up or whatever, and I'll nod thanks to Xenophon, and now let's figure out who is fucking with us over here. Xenophon, you said you'd explain exactly what you saw on the other side.
Yes. So what has happened is, how to explain it? Peyton has initiated a hostile takeover of the spider. He has insinuated himself into her web in a way that I don't know that we can entangle him without doing grave damage to her. I certainly don't. Well, and I kind of look at Briar and I say, are we agreed that we're not going to worry about doing damage to him?
I'm more confused as to how he did it in the first place. He's the most impressive thing about him is he's got 10 yachts, and he didn't get those yachts by merit. How can he do something like this?
Oh, I don't think he's done this by anything other than brute force. And so the offer I made to him was that we become partners, that we mitigate the damage that he's doing to the web, that we keep him from using up Mother Spider by showing him the right way to ingratiate ourselves to her, to parcel out her power in such a way that it's not used up, that she's not corrupted. I don't think he's certainly not going to listen to us if he considers us adversaries. If we can insinuate ourselves with him, even perhaps become indispensable to him, then we have leverage to help Mother Spider. Right now, we have none.
I mean, not to sound like I don't have any faith in my brother, but I don't have any faith in my brother to
Oh no.
That's
No. No, the goal of this is not to help him. The goal of this is to get him to trust us so that we have the means and the ability to take him down from within.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I was hoping someone would say that. I was hoping that would be the gist of this. That seems reasonable. Right.
And Briar, you can tell me for sure, but the impression I get is that he will always think that he is cleverer than whoever it is he has entered into an agreement with. And not to speak out of turn, but he's not cleverer than I am.
The only thing he knows how to do is to make numbers go down and use. I don't know how he did this, but
this is how we find out.
Yeah. It's just, well, I'm sorry if I'm leaping ahead, but that means we'll have to spend time with him, don't we?
It does, but it's for the good of the pack. And just think how much sweeter it will be if his fall comes from as great a height as we can put him to before you push him off the precipice.
I think the image of that, like, just have Briar daydreaming about it. It's like, oh yeah, that sounds really good. But I think they look to Maxim first. Say like, is this also good? This is on the money.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't even think Maxim has anything to add to Xenophon's idea. I guess we. Do you think we need to fight this war in two fronts, or do you think they're connected?
Oh, they're very much connected. This is, I've spent my whole life walking this space between real numbers and imaginary numbers. And I've been waiting for something like this. So, with your permission, Maxime, I will set my contacts to work on helping us learn what we need to know and put preparations in place for us to be ready.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right, so this is where I'm going to bring my resources into play here. This is the advance I picked up last time. Choose 2 spheres of influence. When you ask your contacts for help with an action, then add +1 ongoing for all related roles until the action is completed, or transfer the +1 ongoing to another player if they are completing the action instead of you. And I chose business and the occult as my 2. And this is like literally the intersection of these 2 things that we're working on here right now, I think. So, so yeah, I'm going to call in some of my contacts for help on this, on constructing a merger that is, advantageous to us.
Cool. So that's a plus moving forward. Well, I think that happens, right? We'll see the sort of the backroom scenes, and I'm really happy. Rather than if you, it probably makes so we have it. How do you want to do it? Do you want to have like introductions to and have an NPC scene, or do you want to leverage it and flashback heist style because you're smarter than everyone else?
Oh, I definitely want to leverage it heist style. Yeah. That's what we're here for. So yeah,
exactly. So right, so that's more fun than having NPC. I will happily see the narrative for you anytime you want to do that, to take that +1 forward and display it in the fiction. but yeah, there's probably sushi arrives as you make your plan.
And I want to be super clear because like the mechanics actually mean something and are different. I have a +1 ongoing for this, not just +1 forward.
+1 going.
Like,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So +1 I'm going on this. And so yeah, it's a good times ahead. So I think time will pass. I say it's Godfather style as the door shuts on the audience behind them as you get your plan in action. What are you doing? Where are you going?
I want to ask kind of what's been happening to the unconscious Jessica as this has been this conversation's been going on.
You may have stepped away. You were put in a chair, and when you come around, there's a glass of water next to you.
Yeah. So I come round. I gulp down the water and immediately go and find what the hell's been going on.
Yeah, I think we're in the super duper conference room. The not quite the boardroom, right? But something like that, which is probably just across the corridor or across the reception area from Jessica's office. But yeah, I think that's our war room right now.
So I walk in. I walk very close past the back of Rosa's chair and just snarl quietly as I do, and then take my seat. And my apologies, I was indisposed.
Rosa really helpfully stares you in the eyes and raises her.
Yeah, I mean, Rosa and I had a quick chat immediately after her action, and she has some serious takeaways on that. So yeah, she won't be doing any of that fucking bullshit again. And I'm like staring at Rosa, right? Just I want a yes boss out of her, basically.
She nods. She nods in agreement and points and says, "I got you some of that tiger roll you'd like, just to make sure there's no hard feelings. Hey, Jessica." California roll. Sorry, tiger rolls are bread. That's where that came from. Her California roll.
I don't say anything, but I do pick up the roll and eat it with kind of rolls and eat them with obvious enjoyment.
Cool. So there is sushi, and the pack are almost on the same page under the new item.
I want to be clear that I don't think there's sushi. I think there's sashimi.
Ah, okay.
Like, well, fuck rice, man. We don't need that. Like,
just give us a slab of meat.
Yeah, like gorgeous, thinly sliced, like pieces of like salmon and and like octopus and stuff like that. But maybe a little like steak or something. But yeah, no, we don't need it all hand rolled and crap like that.
That's fine.
Oh,
you definitely have real wasabi, right?
Oh, I think we have. I think we have fugu. I think we kind of we're the sort of people who get fugu to go,
Gotcha.
Which is
something only people with regenerative digestive systems can do, right?
Your wealthy people. You won't be getting it from bad sushi chefs. That's sushi yeah, chefs for sure. So yeah, that's good. But yeah, you have that moment. But where are you going next? Because I think this was your regroup moment. What I would suggest is people do check, because it feels to me a few things happened. We've had a couple of scenes there, so check your heartbeat. But everyone, I just think, has just had a moment of heartfelt camaraderie as you've also sat down and had your dinner. So you definitely want to. Everyone wants to at least mark one on their human path. But yeah, I think to yourself, if you hit, I think you were persuasive Xenophon as well again, but you've tapped your human path anyway. So what's the plan? How do you want to frame the next scene? I think it's on you more than me at the moment, I'm afraid.
Yeah, Jim, I think you should take this. This is definitely your bailiwick.
So I think this is, I mean, if we can just sort of montage, you know, we spend several days or maybe even a week or something like that setting everything up.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like, can we just jump to like, we have the big meeting with him?
Yeah, we can go there, and as I say, let's play it flashback style, right? So especially if you get your full 10 pluses on your rolls, do feel free to reveal that you've been doing this and it was planned out all along. Leverage Ocean 11 style. You are the Wolves of Wall Street.
Is
So,
is
yeah.
everybody okay? I just want to do a check-in. Is everyone okay with that, with a little jump forward in time like that? Is that good?
Yeah, that works great. I don't think we can jump too far forward because then we hit IRS problems again. But like,
No, like I said, just a week or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
We'll
I
put
think
all the groundwork down here.
I think it's about a week, right? Yeah.
You know, we to buy us more time on the IRS. We have probably had a quiet meeting with an SEC guy, and it's like, this is our turf, IRS. You know, we've prompted some kind of federal turf war to give us more time, right?
Yeah, tied them up in knots.
Awesome.
Seriously, get your mage nonsense out of here.
What?
I think it's a few days have passed. Your plan is in action. You are meeting at their place, your place, neutral territory.
Oh, I think it's I cannot imagine that he would not insist that it doesn't happen at his in his building, in his, that, you know, he's going to want to show off to us, and like he's going to want to posture and all that kind of shit. And, you know, we're going to have the talk with everybody about how we're going to go in there and we got to just play it cool and, you know, let him, you know, show his teeth and all that kind of stuff, knowing that, you know, we're playing the long game.
Sure. Okay. So, look, we are in, we're on Battery Place, looking out over the Castle Clinton at the front of New York, out towards Lady Liberty. It is probably early evening. Sun is setting. Dusk is upon you. It's full moon. Let's keep with the theme. And the pack is approaching. Where do you want Rosa in this scene? You can have her with you, or you can have her holding back at the fort. Your call.
Do we want to have that NPC lean on if we need her? Or?
I think once the tensions have had passed over the last couple of days, the point she was trying to get out is like the offices are like our nexus and our locus to control or work with Grandmother Spider. If we lose it, we've lost our last bit of advantage. That's what I was trying to do before you got all. Anyway, so she says, if you like, I can stay here. She's in your back pocket then if you need her, but she's not an
yeah.
float around, right?
I mean, I got the point she was making. I just disagree. But yeah, that sounds good.
It's not that I don't understand what you're saying, it's that you're wrong.
Yeah.
And I think Jessica's just happy not to have to look at Rosa right now. Like, yeah, doesn't want her in her sight.
She's trying to give you a gift every day to make up for it. She sent you flowers, a mouth guard, a glass jaw.
Amazon gift card, yeah. So.
Cool. But yeah, you are there and outside this building, and it is stone and glass. It looks out, say, on the out onto the grasslands, which are the front, let's say, that lead out towards Lady Liberty. As you approach, and
I want to be super clear about one thing before we start.
Sure.
I have dressed Briar for this. I brought Briar to my tailor. I had them fitted for a proper suit. I brought them to a salon, and got them cleaned up. And so, like, it's literally a thing, like, we get out of the car and I kind of give me a moment, like, sort of, tweak their tie a little bit, like flick a little lint off of, a tiny speck of lint off of one shoulder. You're going to blow his mind, He won't be expecting this. Of all the things he won't be expecting, this, you, right now, I say, and gently tap them on the chest with 2 fingers. This is going to throw him off the most. Revel in it.
I hope you're right. I do feel.
Think back, if you will, if you can remember, to the last time that I was wrong. And I laugh and say, don't worry, if you're ready for this. All you need to do is sit there and just unsettle him. He won't be able to take his eyes off of you. You're our secret weapon for this.
You're not wrong that you've never been wrong. I just hope I won't, let the pack down.
Am I provoking you to spill just before we go in? I feel like perhaps that
If
may
you're,
be what I'm doing
waiting
here.
for their emotional response, and it sounded like to me that Briar was about to give you their feelings.
Okay. All right, I mean, if you'll just spill without my provoking.
Nah, always go for the provoke, man.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna roll it here. You're our secret weapon, I say.
How does that make me feel?
I've got 8 on the dice plus 3 gets me to 11. Oh, that plus 3 heart is just. I'm just like. They have to make the. That result is they have to make the spill move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think express what I'm afraid of, and I think like Briar does kind of like nervously like scratch their chin a bit and says like, I mean, I do hope you're right. Never thought of being someone who could unsettle Peyton. He doesn't see much beyond like probably the nearest 10 past the nearest 10 inches around him. He's very blinkered, I guess. I think the only time he really noticed I was there was when I left. And part of me was hoping him being forced to take over the company means he have to stand beyond those 10 inches, 10 centimeters, inches. I've already forgotten. See, I'm that nervous. But I mean, you're probably right. He didn't get a hold of Grandmother Spider by himself. That's not him. I'm just. I hope I can do as you say.
And I nod, and I do that thing where I just sort of like gently press a fingertip to their lips, like, okay, now we're going to be quiet, and you know, look at Maxim, you know, and I've got my attaché case, and you know, I'm gonna, once Maxim starts going in, I'm gonna do the, you know, fall in step, like 3 steps behind and to the right, exactly like I'm his lawyer, you know, whatever, his, you know, his numbers person, as we go walking inside.
Okay. You step into the office, and the reception. You're seen in. The lift takes you up all the way to the penthouse. Enough to have metaphor. Something straight is enough, I suppose, to have metaphysical and metaphorical hairs raising on your neck as you come up. But the doors open to the elevator, and we see sitting on the desk as the receptionist, Teresa. But her eyes are white blank, no pupils, empty. Her face is drawn and haggard. She does not look well. And she says, until she's speaking, you're pretty sure that she's probably not speaking willingly. Welcome to Horizon Holdings. Mr. King will see you soon. Can I get you anything while you wait? There's like an echo behind her voice. How's that making you feel, Briar?
Not great, but I'm keeping it cool. Trying to. This isn't that great. Remember Teresa being incredibly emotional. Wears their heart on their sleeve. This is weird.
And I remind people, of because I'm playing with some horror tropes here, that if we are at all uncomfortable, we have the X card and script change. So please shout at any time you feel uncomfortable. But yeah, she sort of sits you down, and how would you take do you take tea or do you take coffee, Briar, or water? Do you know take what does Briar take?
Probably coffee. I was gonna describe really black, but yeah, sure, yeah, incredibly black coffee.
Right, so like a long black, right? So it is the bit that a barista will charge you a fortune to do to get that crema at the top of the beer, the coffee. But she makes it perfectly for you and puts the biscotti you like on the side as well, and smiles and says, "I know how you like it," before asking everyone else what they would like.
Pomegranate kombucha.
Of course, sir. You are made to wait for that sort of about 8 to 9 minutes before she then says, "Please come with me." And she's not so much walking as scuttling in that sort of slightly arachnid fate way, as you're led through to the main meeting room and the doors open. And this is modern chrome and glass and screens. It is still a long table, and you're brother Briar is on the other side of the table, and sort of raises. He's on a call and a Bluetooth, and he says, as you come in, says, in speaking in Chinese, but sort of comes to a conclusion and ends the call, and then switches the Bluetooth piece on and sits it down on the table. Says, "Welcome in." He is not on his own. Sitting on the side of the table next to them is Whisper, who, what is your strongest last memory of Whisper, Maxim? What does she look like? What does she smell like?
I mean, I think the last time I saw Whisper is the only one that really comes to mind without some kind of effort, which is her dying. And I need to work at it to bring forth a memory of her like she is now, like when she was, 100% healthy. So yeah, my kind of default mind state for Whisper is her smelling of death. And that is definitely not what I smell right now.
She doesn't smell of that. And Jessica, you catch the smell as well with your heightened senses. That what she's also now, she's wearing the right perfume, and her hair is the right length, and her makeup and cut is the right cut. This is not the slightly out of time one that was sent to see you. It says, "So we're here to negotiate, yes? A merger?
I certainly hope so.
A merger, I think, is what you described, which is always better than an acquisition."
Certainly tends to work out better in the long term than a hostile takeover. And I've got my attaché. I put my thumbs on the biometric locks. It pops open, and I've got some folders on the inside. And I say, this, of course, is preliminary. Both of our councils will have to approve it, but I think you'll find that there's something in here for everyone. And I just hand it over to him.
He takes it and looks at the information. Is there anything strange here you want to draw to my attention, or is it just paperwork for him to read?
I mean, I think it's mostly just, it is mostly paperwork. I mean, I think there's almost certainly, we have done our best to, make it as advantageous to the concessions that we're making read as important, but are not. And the concessions we're asking him to make are things that I have guessed he will not see as important, but that we understand how to leverage into being, to help to being really helpful for us. I mean, essentially, it's, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's a merger, but we are merging. We are doing the merging.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of those sort of mergers, yeah. And,
yes. So, I mean, I think as Xenophon, slides the paperwork across, I think Maxim is, I don't know, making a pitch that if they find anything untoward here, I'll eat my hat kind of thing. Maxim has 100% faith in Xenophon's ability to, make this seem like they spot something that we haven't thought of, right? It's a trap, in other words.
So look, I think what we need to do now is figure out if they buy it, and the core move for this would be a dominate. But I'm happy that if there's any playbooks which is appropriate, you should do those. But also remember, you've got your +1 forward on this from ongoing. Sorry, so ongoing from Xenophon's contacts.
Could we also say that, because I do have that who's a good wolf move, if I am boosting Xenophon, to give them another +1?
I'm
Sweet.
totally down with that. You're the alpha. You're the friendly alpha who chucks people in the bin rather than swearing at them. That's why everyone likes you more.
I mean, I also swear at people, but that's like a core alpha trait, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the rules, right?
Also, here's the thing. I want to pay 10-pack pool. We knew the enemy would make a move and we had a contingency plan. What is it?
If the pack is the pack's here, so as long as you're in agreement, I think that's exactly seems appropriate here. So you can pay that all off. You have a contingency plan. What is it? So then we get
Does that not mean that they should have made a move first, Jim?
Well, I think we can sort of flash back to the fact potentially.
Let me tell you what. So let's step out for a moment, and I'll tell you what I want this to do. And I want to take Whisper off the table, like take them out of the negotiations. Because we have the documents showing that they're legally dead, which means they can't actually be here participating in this. They can't sign anything. They can't.
I mean, maybe we go one better than the legal proof. I think in my attaché case, I have her not beating heart.
Fucking A, that's so much cooler. That's so much cooler. Yes. Okay. Yeah. That's why we. That's why.
I mean, maybe that's the stench of death
people.
that's in my nostrils, right?
That's fantastic. That's
Okay,
so cool.
now we're playing Suits as if it was directed by Quentin Tarantino, and I am here for this.
This is what this game has been angling towards, Dave.
Yeah. I'm happy.
I'm going to make the case that pulling a heart out of an attaché case is more Cronenberg than Tarantino, but yeah, just a general gist of what's going on. Yeah,
certainly flipped it into that thump, open the suitcase.
Yeah,
who knew that was in the suitcase all the way along in Pulp Fiction?
Awesome. Everybody cool with that?
So right. I'm going to excise all but 2 points of your pack, but this is a 10-point, right? So it's a big spend. And we will continue to use this as if it was the the run there. The contingency plan is boom. I mean, equally, it's interesting. The overwhelm them can be used in a similar way, but we'll spend for that right now. And you sort of throw that onto the table, and we'll take a flashback to the point where. You get this conversation with this strange occult expert and dealer down in the village, Xenophon, going, yeah, that.
Oh, no way! No! My occult expert is not like some like crazy gypsy woman in the village.
Where is it then?
It's like in Chelsea. It is like a like this like elderly gay male fashion designer who's super into like astrology and tarot and stuff like this. And so he's like I jokingly call him Merlin. And he has never disabused me of the notion that he might actually be Merlin. And that he is my occult go-to. Because he's, it's like very classy occult stuff, this is not like going to some, patchouli reeking place. on, in St. Mark's Place or something like that. This is, yeah.
Got you. So in that case, he will tell you that he is this. Oh gosh, I've got the English guy Alien in New York in my mind now. But it's sort of like, oh gosh, he's said you don't want to be dealing with Peyton King. He's extremely gauche, and I'm afraid an over pompous idea of himself. He says as a mage, a wizard in the orders of death and macabre. I have no time for such things.
This is completely how we bring Sir Ian into
Yeah.
our show here. So yeah.
And it's death and macabre. And they said, oh, I think I could think of nothing that would upset him more than out gothicking him. As the heart hits the desk. And there is the moment then where he looks and Whisper, I think, looks relieved for a second as you see that she is made up of spiderweb, both physical and digital, and it sort of wisps away into the wind. A touch of the web just brushes against you, Maxim, and it reminds you of how much she meant to you. And that smell that was on her perfume is sort of in your nose for a moment. This guy hasn't just played games with your pack, he's fucked around with your dead pack mates. But he sort of looks at the heart on the desk and looks up at the paperwork and says, oh, so is this going to get real?
I don't think, I mean, it's already real. This is a demonstration, proof of concept, if you will, of the kind of help that we can bring. And that you'd much rather have us on the inside than on the outside.
I mean, we are happy to piss on the tent either way, but
he takes the papers and flips through the contract. Word by word, it sort of hisses into his mind. And he said, I wasn't going to piss around with you and yours until Gungeon decided to mess with my family. So all of this is ultimately Briar's fault.
I thought I made it clear to Mother and Father that I was going, and you certainly didn't beat around the bush putting your own stamp around the place. I noticed the family portrait outside is gone now, and it's just you there.
So there's no point looking back into the past when you're the future, Briar. You'd have known that if you'd stuck around.
Right. Well, I'm sorry if I had the wherewithal to go find my own future while you're stuck here having to deal with everything else our family does. But you seem to be doing well by yourself. Getting to places where you probably shouldn't be. How did that happen?
Smiles and says, discipline, training, natural talent, friends in high places. And that he sort of looks at the contract and takes out the pen, and it says, I am very sorry that I did have to kill your mentor. It was necessary to teach you a lesson.
I think Peyton you consider necessary is often an incredible overkill that, well, sorry, no, I think that was Briar. Sorry, my mind went in the middle of that sentence. I think Briar still has some of their incredibly black coffee. Just take the sip, and
I'm just wondering how you're feeling, and I'm sort of thinking that I might ask you to roll give into the wolf round here to see if you're trying to pull your buttons. Do you think you are strong enough to resist, or do you think you need to see if you lose control?
I think I've been doing fine, but I think the mentioning Ram is like it's close to like the tipping point, because I don't think there's ever any indication that was his fault. My mind thought it was the vampires.
Yeah, are there any things you remember, Ram? Don't you, Xenophon?
I just raise an eyebrow, and I say, I raise an eyebrow and I say, my memories of Ram don't matter, because we remember him together. And as soon as you took that memory away from me, and I just walk over to Briar, and I put a hand on Briar's shoulder very gently. I knew that the rest would hold those memories for me. And whether you give them back to me or not, you can never really take them away.
Roll to shut someone down. No.
Dominic, is your shut someone down?
Oh yeah, it is. Yes, it is.
If anyone has like +3 in cold, it's going to be Xenophon, right?
So if you want to shut them down, you can certainly do that by rolling with your to dominate them, because otherwise she's going to keep needling at you.
Okay, yeah. So was that? I'm sorry, David. Was that directed at me or at?
No, I think it was directed at Briar at that point, because it's Briar.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Briar they're needling at. So I think it's on Briar to try and.
Yeah, I think Briar just add to that, see, I don't know who your friends in high places are, Peyton, but I know you've never really had friends. All you've had are baubles that you've bought to hang around you. There was a time when you had family, yes, but, well, our parents washed their hands of this. What I found is that sometimes friends and family mingle, and for that mingling, we're stronger for that. And it's just you and whoever has you dangling on a string, and the only people who can catch you when you fall is probably going to be us. Now I'm going to roll and see if this works out.
Dominate with teeth.
Oh yeah, my teeth, which is a big fat whopping 0. Okay.
No, but the other way we could have spent you spent 10 points on you had a contingency plan. I'm happy that you could have spent it on 12, and each one of you can have a dramatic moment, which is the flashback thing that leads to the beating of the villain. But I'll let you go how you want to. Or we can have the dominate and see how that unfolds. Let's do the dominate.
I'm ready to back up with a borrowed trouble here, because I'd like to get a chance to use that move. So if it goes badly, I'll be stepping in.
Well, why doesn't Briar roll their dominate then, and let's see how that rolls.
I mean, I imagine there's room in that briefcase for 2 hearts. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Roll a 5. So there we go.
Roll a 5.
There are 2 in the pack pool. I'm just saying. But if you want to, but I'm keen to see what Jessica wants to do. So I'll let this failure go ahead.
I think at this, I'm looking to rattle. I'm looking to rattle Peyton right back, and so I kind of surreptitiously push a button on my phone, and I'm going to roll before I describe what that looks like. So that's an 8 plus feral, so my feral is 1, so that is a 9. So the trouble is redirected to me. So what I want this to look like, and then we'll work out how that works mechanically afterwards, is I want Peyton to get a call right now that that every single one of Horizon Holdings subsidiary offices just had a bunch of lawyers walk in and serve a subpoena, a different subpoena from a different potential lawsuit. And I've kind of, you can flash back to me like pulling in lots of favors, kind of digging up dirt, kind of readying all this to happen.
Sure.
And just to rattle. I just look Peyton straight in the eyes and say, well, 2 can play at your sort of games.
So he looks at the information, looks at that coming through on his screens, and he says, "Oh God," he said, "I really thought this was going to be something we could have worked through together." He said, "All I want is my family. Is my family back? Isn't that enough for you?"
We still can work through this together if you stop fucking with my family. And I look at Briar.
Says, or alternatively, I could throw you out a window. And I think that's the point where his hands raise up and thump, you go flying backwards, taking the trouble on yourself, smashing out through the safety glass with a bit of a boom.
I'm guessing I'm taking harm here.
You are taking harm here.
Okay, let's roll for that.
Look, you're only taking 1 harm from the actual going through the window, but if you don't, it could get worse on the way down.
So that's a 7 on the harm move.
Your guts turns it to a 6.
Oh, yes, that's true. Yes. So that is a 6 on the harm move.
Does someone want to spend a point of the pack to turn that?
I would like to spend a point of pack to stop her from, hurtling to her death at 81 stories or whatever it is.
Otherwise, I feel this is really unfair that the poor enforcer has got into 2 fights and been knocked out in each occasion.
Yeah. No guts, no glory, I think is
all right.
the...
So let's say that one put off. You're a 7 to 9. You must choose fight or flight. If the P chooses flight, they must leave the scene. If it chooses flight, the MC can choose one of these. Are you fleeing or are you carrying on? Is this sort of you're stopped from falling, but the wolf side of you takes over and you're starting to lose control of it? Jessica, are you running or are you staying?
I am staying because I don't want to be out of this final scene. Okay, so you get to choose this. Perfect.
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna say, right, you've lost your footing. So the first round or so, though, as you went flying backwards, Maxime was fast enough to stop you going all the way. You are still dangling by fingertips out of the window at the moment. Okay, so there's a round or so.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Can this be like the really action movie thing where like Jessica's falling, Maxime reaches out, just grabs her like enough that it swings her down and she goes smashing through the window of the floor below.
Yes.
And then she's got to like scramble back up to where we are to get there.
I think that's better description than I did. So absolutely go for it.
Yep. Yep.
Boom.
And
Yeah, a bunch of like, and like into the middle of some like meeting or something, and people are very surprised. I think that's, yeah.
yes.
I think
if I'll take the.
Sorry, I was just
Sorry,
going
go
to
on.
add like one little detail, right? I think she's so close to getting out of his grasp, but he grabs the sleeve of the jacket, and any normal jacket would just have ripped, right? But it's so well tailored that it holds.
But it's stretched, man, and that lining's never going to be the same again as the glass.
Well, you know.
Gives way, right? Smash. You're gone through the window of.
Could we maybe take our second break here?
Yeah, let's do that for their phone. Sorry, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, then we get into our finale.
Take 5 minutes. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So, as I say, we see that he has, struck out with his hand. Whatever the energies are that surround him in Eldritch, is enough to send, as we've seen, Jessica flying out of the window. Probably, we know where Maxim was in the moment of that. So, Briar, how do you react to him harming Jessica? I'd like to see that reaction.
I'm gonna freak out and give in to the wolf.
Yes.
And I think that's very straightforward. So I'll just roll that. Okay, cool. That's an 8.
You choose one.
Okay. I think I will. Yeah, I'll pick the first one, which is reduce heart and guts by 2. So heart, heart. Is it heart and guts? Yes, heart and guts by 2. So I think I'll reduce heart to 0 and move teeth up to. Wait, hold on. Okay, yeah, I'll move teeth up to 2. And I think what this looks like is Briar is kind of like stand up because he initiated violence, therefore we can initiate violence as well. And it kind of like they make like they snarl and they make this like leap, and in mid leap they just like turn into the wolf and try to like tackle Peyton to the ground.
It's like you're mauling.
Yeah. Okay. Go. Oh wait, that's the wrong modifier.
Rolling with teeth.
Oh, it's still gonna be an 8. So plus 2. That's an 8.
So on a 7 to 9, choose one. I would normally say knocking someone out for a major big bad is something I would dissuade, but then again, we're into the climactic last half an hour of a game. So if it is thump and you get him, I'm happy that is what you could do.
The thing is, I want him to be awake so that we can so he can be aware of what we're doing. So
could oppress or intimidate them, or just
yes,
move.
I think I will impress or intimidate them, knock them to the ground, and just have the big, full, horrible wolf in their face.
Cool.
Yeah.
You still do 2 harm because you're attacking, right? but you
Mhm.
also do intimidate them, impress them, and you sort of knock him down. And you sort of is smugly about to say, "Oh, what big teeth you have!" And he's halfway through the sentence, probably, but you roar in his face, and you think better of it.
Yeah, and obviously I'm not gonna. I can't speak. I can't talk to him in wolf form, but I think I made my point. You can see, yes, I do have very big teeth.
Xenophon, what is your shenanigan?
Man, I feel like we've like so is he basically beat here? Is that kind of what's going on, or
pinned at the moment, right? He might fight back. I mean, I imagine the end move is he's got to sign the contract or something along those sort of lines. But or what's your end move? But he's intimidated but not beaten. He's got a chance. He's probably going to try and escape or do something next.
yeah, I think that
there's also getting his control over grandmother's spider away from him, so there's that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is just where I say, okay, it's time to put up or shut up. And I put the contract down, and I kind of gently like put a hand on Briar's shoulder. And I say to him, you need to understand that however you treat Briar is how you treat the rest of us. And that means that you will respect them. And if not respect them, you will provide them the same professional courtesy that you provide to us. In fact, that's written into the contract.
So it sounds like you're trying to convince him to sign it.
Yeah, and I think like at this point, like this is either, so you can sign this and work with us and be unhappy that you got a bad deal, or we can all just destroy each other and we'll all have nothing.
So he takes the contract to sign. I'd like to see how ironclad this contract is, and that feels something like it's an act on instinct because you're using your superhuman abilities.
Yeah, sure. All right, you can do that. Feral, which I'm not good at. I usually have lawyers draw this kind of stuff up. Professionals. Luckily, I do have professionals, which gives me that +1 ongoing.
That's true, it does.
For dealing with this sort of situation. So that means instead of the normal -1 that I would roll for Feral, I'm going to be rolling a flat, I believe, is how that's going to work, right?
Are you remember the pitch Maxim made at the very start of this scene? Is that because it's about this contract, right? Was that +1 that I gave you? Are we going to bake that into this roll as well?
Yeah, we could break that in. I mean, spending 10 pack points, right? I think, as well. I think unless you roll terribly badly, we'll figure something out.
Well, I mean, the whole point is that it takes Whisper, like the point of that 10 spend was to take Whisper out as a,
I agree.
Like can't advise him, can't look over the contract, can't, the person who actually knows us is not there to advise him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm totally good on that. So if Maxim's intervention gives me a +1 forward, and I've also got my +1 ongoing, so I'll be rolling at +1 for this roll. So let's see what happens here. That's a 6 showing up on the dice, which gets me to 7. How much pack do we have? We've only got the 1. So that's going to be.
We had 2 and I spent 1 to save Jessica.
I have a move.
Yeah.
I have a move called We Are Family. You can erase up to 2 spaces on your wolf/human path per session. Add the number erased as pack pool points. These points can't be spent by or on the cub. But Maxim is there. Everyone else is there. So because it's the last session, I'll happily erase. Oh, good.
I mean, if we're making a good contract watertight, I think flashing back to Jessica kind of looking through this with Xenophon and kind of like just working it together kind of back and forth until it's absolutely watertight makes sense. So I'm happy to kind of spend those pack pool to help Xenophon.
That feels pack-like and climatic, which is just enough, I think, with what you've got in the pool there to shove yourself into a 10+, allowing you to do it with a little flourish.
That's
which gives us +1 pack pool, right?
Yeah,
Got to spend pack pool to make pack pool.
yeah, the currency in this game does feel sometimes going. Oh,
So that was 2 from Briar's move, 1 from our pack pool to give you a 10, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So
And I kind of love the idea that I went to Jessica and said, I need someone that hates me to look this over. That can't stand me and would find anything that they could do to get at me. Look at this with that in mind, please. Like, oh yeah. Excellent, cool. So yeah, so that is 10+. You do it, describe how you succeed, give it a little flourish, and take +1 pack pool. So in describing this, am I describing like exactly what the contract says, or
describe what it looks like in the scene, what the contract says, how you got them. I'm happy for you. This is your Ocean's 11 flashback moment where the mastermind realizes they've had it all along.
I maybe even a flash forward, if that sounds good to you, to kind of how this kind of like plays out, how kind of things are thwarted by this contract going forwards.
So could it be something like, sorry, Jim, I don't want to step on your toes.
Oh, go ahead, yeah.
Is it something like, a month or so, the next full moon when Peyton goes to access the spider web and, the door doesn't open and it's like prior authorization must be,
So I think what I do, what I have done with this contract is, without ever coming out and doing it, I have written it in language that like refers to Mother Spider often enough, like as a named party, that it basically makes her a co-signee of the contract.
Nice.
Like the language in it, like he reads it, he probably just in his reading of it reads it like we're referring to property. And I have very carefully chosen the language to make it clear that we are referring to an individual. And that as such, it's granting like literally Mother Spider legal power, like legal rights under the contract. That were probably like nobody even thought about heretofore to, grant her or anything like that. And, as a result, any future dealings he has with her have to be, negotiated like she's a person. Like he can't just take stuff from her. In effect, the contract gives her all of the legal rights of any other individual, including like, the right to sue him, the right to, all of this kind of stuff. Like I like that.
When the pack or whatever we're called are introduced, the pack shall include all members of the pack, their dependents, and founding members. And of course, Mother Spider was like started every pack on the planet kind of thing,
Yes, yeah, that kind of like recursive, like you would have to read back through to realize the implications of like just one sentence we buried in there somewhere. That's awesome.
That sounds absolutely absolutely awesome. And when I come to running Urban Shadows, I know exactly what the wild's going to be, right? So, doom. There is that moment of yeah, and that is done, and signs it. It feels powerful for a moment, but yeah, we're a month later. Things have started to return back to normal then, right? Do we want to have at the time a bit of an epilogue for the characters in the scenes, maybe where we see them at the end of this sequence of adventures for our dear protectors and werewolves? Are things getting back to normal? I think I want to see how Jessica has. We flash forward. Where do we see Jessica?
Ooh, I think we see. I think we see Jessica. Maybe this is flashing forward more than a month now, but I think we see Jessica presiding over a hostile takeover of that building that was filled with vampires.
Real hostile, like. Awesome. And how about Briar?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna show Briar work to Pax firm, which did we ever give the the firm a name? It's just
the firm is fine, unless you want to name it. And we see the sign in the closing act.
I don't want to name it because I don't know if I ever run games in this shared setting again. I want to at least reference this this firm. But that's another concern. I think yeah, we see Briar finishing off like work. They've been watching over Rams Holdings, and they've been doing quite well. Even I think we got a shot of like looking at all the Business Insider websites and trading stocks, seeing how Horizon's doing. Seems like they've been needing quite a bit of help from the firm, and then they finish up like work and they say some like goodbyes because like they're heading off for the night for they're heading off because like most of the time they usually stay with the pack to like just have the usual post work like shenanigans, but tonight they say the goodbyes and said they head down to Brooklyn. Well, they go by Wolf, and they head into Teresa's apartment, mostly to see how they're doing.
And I think she's looking healthier. She's got her shit together and lets you in and pours you a coffee just the way you like it.
At some point in the future, Briar asks if she can turn into well, she's now a were-spider, but that's way later in the future.
Yeah, of course. But what about Xenophon?
So I mean, I think we see Xenophon in that same apartment. Getting let in by, a different, like it's a year later, which means I have a different pretty boy to take me for a walk. Like I've traded in for a newer model, and like come in, walk in, puts the leash up and stuff like this, and it's kind of a little bit of a repeat. And Donna, if you're okay with this, like whatever, I kind of grow back up into human form, and I repeat the line about you know, I'm going to make an omelet or something like this. You know, what do you want? You know, I could go for a mimosa. And
Things must have been really busy last night if I'm sleeping on the couch again, right?
I think you come walking out of my bedroom.
Yeah.
If like if you're cool with that.
Sure.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, not like I don't think it implies that you live there or anything like that. In fact, I don't think there's any evidence at all that you live here, but just that like whatever bender we went on last night, you ended up in the bedroom and not on the couch.
Uh-huh.
And so, and you know, and I grin and crack a couple of eggs.
Awesome. And I'm going to close with it's a late one, very late. That point where you're not quite sure if it's late at night or early in the morning, and Rosa is still working on something, closing up the club, and we see
Are we gonna give Maxime a chance to have
Oh, sorry. Yes, we are. I forgot to deal with Maxime. I'm sorry. I do apologize. Maxime.
Yeah, so I think maybe we're rewinding a little bit in our time span to maybe 2 months after or a month after the other shoe has dropped on Peyton. And we see Maxime back in Chicago. But he's packing up, and like some of his roommate or whatever in this apartment in Chicago who he works with is like wondering where he's going, and he just says like, I'm going home, and he's got a ticket back to New York.
Nice. So, as I said, I think you've got Rosa late at night in the office. That point between morning and night, too early for one, too late for the other. And we see Gunjan, who hasn't been in town for quite a while. And she sort of says, I haven't seen you for a while. Where have you been? Said, I've been on a journey, figuring a few things out. And she says, I've got something I'd like you to read. And you'll need to know your lore for this one. But he puts down a book called Chronicles of the Black Labyrinth. And we see a flash of darkness in his eyes, which just sets us nicely for the sequel. Thank you for playing, everybody. I hope you've had fun and interesting times. It might be cool just to do a slight debrief for the last 10 minutes of the game, maybe using the highlight reel rap session type approach. The thing that you really like most about one of the characters or points in the game, let's do a roll of that to begin with, and then the rap session, let's have a thought about what you think about the game, what you like, you didn't like, etc. So look, let's keep in character, keep it order. Leandro, what was your highlight of the entire game for you?
Oh, the entire game?
What episode? Well, it could be just tonight, or it can be all of the above.
It's just so much. I mean, I've already highlighted my highlights from the previous episodes. For this one, I think I really enjoyed the dynamic back at the offices once we got out of the spider web stuff. The constant jockeying of power until it's finally got settled by the end of it. It was lovely to like kind of watch that from the side, being all, oh god, so this is how they, okay, all right, cool, gonna note this down, this is how things work here, okay, cool. I did love that, like at the end we got like a solid notion that everyone is in we're all in this together, to quote a famous Disney text. So I love that we got there. So that's like my big highlight. And it's nice to not fail five rolls in a row. I mean, I think I didn't roll as many times, so that's the secret. That's a secret, kids. You can't fail if you don't roll. But yeah, I think I definitely had a really fun time. I love the vibe. Sorry, I'm just gonna keep babbling. I also just love literal wolves in Wall Street. The moment you said that, Dave, was like, oh, of course, yeah, of course, that's what we're going for. What was happening in the 90s that this was in the vibe? This was the vibe.
Awesome.
Love this urban fantasy bullshit. Thanks very much for running, Dave, and thanks everyone for playing.
Donna?
Yeah, I think the star, the highlight reel for me this episode, this session, not a TV show, is, you know, this like I think you said it, Dave, at the time, like where we completely transform into the Suits montage of the hostile takeover, you know, with some werewolfing in there and everything. So yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking of when I signed up to the game. You know, the Suits, but werewolves. You know, so yeah, that was great.
I'm pretty sure that I could skin this game not to run werewolves but to run Suits, because it does feel like this has got a lot of that vibe in there.
Yeah.
Couple of moves difference. Awesome. Bodhi?
So I think from this session, the thing that stands out is that moment with the heart kind of revealing that. And I think that kind of harks back to something which has been great in all our sessions, I think, which is just great set pieces, kind of like setting stuff up for really kind of awesome moments. So yeah.
That was fun. I did not expect to see a heart on the table. So well done, Donna, for that. That was awesome. Jim?
I got to give stars to Bodhi for just letting Jessica just be the punching bag. Like, just like, oh no, I'll take that hit. That's totally, that's what I'm here for. Like, you're getting thrown out of a skyscraper. Oh yeah, no problem. I got this. So, and that was great. That was a cool little, and I love that, that was just another phase in the negotiation, right? That was like, oh, so we're playing hardball now. Okay, I get it. But that, like, it didn't just devolve into a, you know, whatever, like a big punch up. It was like, oh, okay, you know, that changed the tenor of what was going on, you know, and that, but that it kind of continued in that, like, the surreality of that being like just part of the business meeting, and then it continued in that vein, you know. But we got him to sign the contract, so this was just super fun. And David, your just, you know, willingness to just kind of just like roll with whatever crazy bullshit we came up with was fantastic. This is great. I had no idea last time how we were going to end up this time, and it was immensely satisfying when it was all over. So thank you.
Nor do I, and that's why I love Pogo Pockets, right? Because we play together, not with a games master. It's great fun. So I love that. Do you have any reflections on the system, the game, positive, negative, that they would like to raise? How many people have played Bite Marks before this time? New for most of us. Donna have played a little bit. Any reflections on the system? What you like, you didn't like?
So if I can start, I
Yeah.
get why it directs as much as it does towards pack dynamics and getting other pack members to do things and stuff like that. But man, it feels like there are a very limited mechanical levers for interacting with the world outside the pack. There's like basically everything is either like dominate or rip its face off. And there are relatively few. I don't know that I saw any of my playbook moves that give it, and it like there's that one that gives the +1 ongoing.
Yeah.
To then, you know, but the +1 ongoing is to then kind of the only 2 moves you're ever going to make with anybody outside the pack. And so
Yeah,
I don't know whether maybe our playthrough of it had more focus outside the pack than a typical game does. But boy, I didn't feel like I had a lot of levers to pull in terms of, like tons of stuff I could do inside the pack. But once we got outside that, it didn't feel like there's a lot of ways to.
Yeah, I think we should run
to
a
go at that.
compacted run, right? We ended up, especially the selection session, we ended up but we ended up pushing the threats against the pack outwards. I think of this, I do think it's an elegant piece of design, but I think it's Monster Hearts, but you're on the same side, right? It's got that vibe to me, as you are doing potentially a lot of support damage and to each other, and then occasionally you fight the bad guys. If anyone's seen the Bitten TV show or the books it was based on, that is really one of its big touchstones. So, but I do know what you mean. I do think that is reasonable, because some of the moves you've got to read. It's like, your dominate is your social move, but you're werewolves are not supposed to be polite and charming. They are supposed to be. So I suppose that's what uses that language. But I take what you say, and I have some agreement with it. Brody, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I just highlight something that I really like about it is the options to spend a lot of pack pool at once. That kind of, it feels like that gives you kind of mechanical position to do really awesome shit. And yeah, I think that's great. That's not something I'd seen before. Like there's plenty of games that have group points and group counters, but not that where once you build it up to a certain level, you can just spend it all and do awesome stuff. So I like that.
Yeah, I like pack. I think because it then really does leverage you into really role playing with it. And I think one of the things I like about it is if I think about like something like masks is my spirit animal, right? But Moment of Truth is such a solo thing. But the 12-point pack pool where the pack comes together and goes team out on each other, I wish masks had a way of using team or something like that. But next time I run it, I might run team in that way, just to make team a bit more fun. I think that is really neat. Donna?
So yeah, my previous experience with bite marks was running a long session about a year ago now, and I kind of have the same feeling at this, although we got to play it a bit more. And that is like, I love the heartbeats, mostly in terms of you just positioning your character to be this kind of person, right? And of course, there's sometimes competing and whatever else, but it's like such an anchor to think like, what am I going to do now? It's one of these 3 things or whatever, right? And the other thing is there's so many XP triggers, right? And they're all a bit nebulous and all a bit, up to your discretion at any particular moment. And it's, I'm not sure I can think of a better way of doing it, but it's kind of I think in late on the first session, I can't remember, did you kind of stop at the end of the scene and say, think about what you did? I think that's the only way to manage it, because otherwise, you either forget it or you kind of go, did I do that? I don't know. You kind of lose track of it very easily unless you have a discrete moment to think about it.
That's fair. There are a couple of currencies, right? Because you manage your XP, and we got pack. Ties I don't seem to see get used. I ran like a 15-16 session long run of this, and ties did not get used a lot. So it's one of these things like, is there too many currencies? Maybe I've got to remind people to use them. Leandro, anything from you?
Yeah, I think and I'll preface it by saying I'm usually ambivalent to werewolves. I'm definitely more of a vampire person for various reasons. And I think the way the game is positioned is at least the type of werewolf story it's going for, which is being about the pack and about being like the struggle was kind of being together, or what kind of family are we, that sort of thing. I think definitely it's more leveraged towards that. And um and I had fun fighting my shitty brother. I think it I think I would like to concentrate maybe just a bit more in like the politics of the pack itself, like, because I don't think I interacted with anyone other than Xenophon and NPCs. Did I ever? I talked to Maxim once, and Jessica helped me. Okay, I just remembered her, but like meaningfully, that's it. So I think that's what the story is built for. And again, it's not even my favorite werewolf kind of story. I like it when werewolves interact with non-werewolves as well. So I think the game is built. I think what the story that the game is built to tell. I think I I think it's not the story. It's not my preference. I guess, but I do appreciate, and I can see that like it works really well to take, because I love the stuff like the pack pool, and I actually don't mind the nemesisness of the XP triggers, because there's only like 5 advances you can get, so it's not built to be that long, and spilling is just so much fun. That's that's just great. The 2 spill related moves, that's just like that's just a wonderful lever to pull, to say like, all right, you, you gotta say something about yourself. You gotta be emotional now. It's like Good Society's monologue tokens, except everyone has to hear it, or whoever's there has to hear it.
Yeah,
Really lovely
I
stuff.
love moves that I mean, spill and provoke spill, and the fact that you guys are doing it so differently from the other game I ran, which was you did enough spilling that caused people to then to be provoked into spilling, so it created a lovely loop in a reverse format. Was great. But yeah, it does tell a pack type story because of my work commitments. We lost one more session, so it's sort of high octane and then expanded out, so we didn't have as much time as we would have liked to. But look, I don't actually really like Werewolf the Apocalypse. I just really like Glasswalkers and the Bone Gnawers. Those are the 2 that ever resonated with me. So I thought, can I do something a little bit more high concept with Becky's game? I think it's reasonably held up. I think it is a great Apocalypse game, and a good addition to everyone's collection if they haven't picked it up. So look, gang, thank you so much as always. For those of you I have played with many times before, Bodhi, it has been a joy to play with you the first time. I hope it is not too long till we do so again.
Absolutely.
All in all, gang, lovely to play with you. Enjoy the rest of your afternoons, evenings, wherever you may be, and I'll see you soon, I'm sure.